H2O flow, chic, Canaanland Moors, when these fall, Shalon Davis, look, hot house, check it, they say they wanna learn, they only debate, referencing the truth, trust me, they only sound the grace, study nationality before you question my estate, I'm not a minority, why you so late, majority rules, here comes the test, fact, that's my hand in the form of a C on the chest, that's a womb that is blessed like a moon and a crest. Major forever, infinite mindset. Major from birth, that's a seed in process. I'm a force that is easy to digest. Competent, never terrenarian. That is my land, never faking. Secret traditions, petitions for what you're not Jamaican. Westmoreland to Portmore, everybody needs more. Refuel, please more. Following the apostle, we should read more. I see the unseen more, we more. That's a fact. Canaanland.
They say they want to learn, complain classes are too long. Don't want it on a phone call, energy too strong. Get it from the wrong source, now they way off course. Think they must be Muslim and give up on all sports. Should give up the red meat, must give up on all porks. Won't be yelling harder when the bottles are uncorked. Eating with the spoon, use forks for tuning. Eating humble pie, no ego ballooning. Samson 2 caterpillars, got him cocooning as the full moon hung, spiral energy moving. Up through the crown chakra, energy shooting. And told me upload classes before live YouTubing. 16,000 subscribers, 20% consuming. 80% troll pretending to be tuned in. Comment on every video, pushing the thumbs down. We'll push the link when we live just like a clown. Pouring in the incompetence, always debating. Dissing Drew Ali, but won't give their location. His image on the black banner, that's placation. Just get him out of here, Yusuf yells in frustration. We know they're playing games, we're not berating. Calling 911, scimitars penetrating. In defense of prophets and mothers abused. And newly awakened Moors, amused and confused.
Northgate, H2O flow, chic, Canaanland Moors, when these fall, Shalon Davis, look, hot house, check it, they say they wanna learn, they only debate, referencing the truth, trust me, they only sound the grace, study nationality before you question my estate, I'm not a minority, why you so late, majority rules, here comes the test, fact, that's my hand in the form of a C on the chest, that's a womb that is blessed like a moon and a crest. Major forever, infinite mindset. Major from birth, that's a seed in process. I'm a force that is easy to digest. Competent, never terrenarian. That is my land, never faking. Secret traditions, petitions for what you're not Jamaican. Westmoreland to Portmore, everybody needs more. Refuel, please more. Following the apostle, we should read more. I see the unseen more, we more. That's a fact. Canaanland.
They say they want to learn, complain classes are too long. Don't want it on a phone call, energy too strong. Get it from the wrong source, now they way off course. Think they must be Muslim and give up on all sports. Should give up the red meat, must give up on all porks. Won't be yelling harder when the bottles are uncorked. Eating with the spoon, use forks for tuning. Eating humble pie, no ego ballooning. Samson 2 caterpillars, got him cocooning as the full moon hung, spiral energy moving. Up through the crown chakra, energy shooting. And told me upload classes before live YouTubing. 16,000 subscribers, 20% consuming. 80% troll pretending to be tuned in. comment on every video, pushing the thumbs down. We'll push the link when we live, just like a clown. Pouring in the incompetence, always debating. Dissing Drew Ali, but won't give their location. His image on the black banner, that's placation. Just get him out of here, Yusuf yells in frustration. We know they're playing games, we're not berating. Calling 911, scimitars penetrating. In defense of prophets and mothers abused. And newly awakened Moors, amused and confused.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gate Cemetery, February the 4th day. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law makes it a little of a lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. I'll keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I'm Rob Bass, mixing with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets took me up right, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm Saturday, flipping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J, Israel. And no door, I lay in plain sight. But people still can't see it, so the snake's still showing up. Stakes still high, so the race still going up. Warriors of the North Gate, we not slowing up. Born in the manger, sworn to be savior. Walk through the valley of the shadows of the death of slavery. Looking for light, the book of Genesis. Astroplane entrances, invoke the nemesis. Abstract images of past lives kicking in. Danger, running for your life, finishing.
Morris Omar, key man or oracle. Using Trinity powers, decipher allegorical. Lost in metaphorical, holy books are metaphysic. Facts like a dirty more or a Drew Ali prayer. Calling him Thomas or Walter and get your face caved. Or cut like a close shave. Drowned in my brainwaves, squash my heat waves. Activating Kundalini. Abyssinia invaded by Mussolini. Selassie I in exile. Reptile in Genesis, niggas appearing real. All I see is false evidence. They are feminists, stomped on by elephants. Won't let go prejudice, but want Moorish benefits. When you feel the cold magnetic resonance. Apis horns of the sacred book called Maleficent. Great cosmic mothers, return to blessedness, no pestilence. Ace all the testaments. Tap into remembrance, never to forget again. Use energy right, not put spell effects on men. Wandering the earth plane with no veil of shades. Keeps you a mental slave as the horizon fades. It's been decades since Christian crusades. Not enough rebellions, too many vigil bouquets. Holding on to the fence, burning on doomsday. War ruled by Mars, it might be on a Tuesday.
Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try?
Everyone think I'm Tallahassee all day. And I was stopped, approached by a beautiful young Moabitus.
Hey!
How we met is because of the feds. Now, can you please tell me how you felt about how we start talking about the feds? Don't be nervous, relax.
When I saw you wearing the hat, I recognized the hat because I'd seen the hat on my great-grandfather before he passed away. I was about 10 years old, and it is, I'm not saying it's similar to the one he wore. They wore them up until about 1918.
Yes.
Where after that it was illegal to wear that hat because it meant something. I'm not sure what it meant.
Just a little bit louder.
I'm not sure what it meant,
yes.
But they...
Who's they?
The Turkish wore those hats.
And that's your great-grandfather?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they wore the hat. He didn't tell me much because he died before I was old enough to ask him all these questions.
Yes, yes.
So he said that they had some kind of a resistance against British Empire, I guess.
Speak up. Yeah, the British Empire. Yes.
When
Say
they
it
were
one more
caught,
time. Yeah.
Against the British Empire
Yes.
at that time. When they were caught, some of them were killed. I don't want to
Speak
say
up.
how.
Beheaded, killed,
Beheaded, killed,
murdered.
Murdered. I don't know
Yes, sir.
how.
Yes.
But I don't want to really say how.
Yes.
But it's, yeah.
But you know how.
But I know how they were executed.
Yes.
The kinder way of saying it.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
No, she's not. She's
This is just wrong to get those.
okay. But let her finish her story, please. This
But
is very important.
the meaning of the hat, I don't know, but I know that it's.
Yes, you
That's what
recognize
it
it.
is. Yes, I recognized it when I saw you walking. I wasn't gonna say anything because
It's a fest. No, but there's nothing wrong. It made you speak because you felt your grandfather's presence, didn't you?
Yeah.
You felt your great grandfather's presence. This is why we must honor our foremothers and forefathers, because there's no such thing as death. They're alive in us. And when we stand up to who we really are, it changes everything in this land.
Plus, I didn't want to annoy anyone.
No, you're not annoying nobody.
You're shopping.
Oh, I love what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Like, wow.
Okay? And this is our sister, and it's great to meet her. And it's always great to be in full light because energy is amazing.
It is.
Oh, it's so loud, you know.
Oh, that was.
It's loud, boys. Peace and love to all the wars. We're here. We're here.
Wow.
It's loud, boy.
That was a great video right there to start it off with.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just love to brother Tallahassee.
Did we get where she was from?
Turkey.
Oh, okay. Because
She's a Turk.
I thought Turks were pale.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I've been listening to some people, on YouTube, and they're saying that, Arabs are pale people and all this. And then she's talking about her ancestors are Turks, so
No hesitation either. No had to think about it, nothing. It was just regular to her.
Yep. Just like we were talking about this morning, how certain people just said that they're Ashkenazi Jew.
Right. That's crazy.
They're mad. They're gonna be mad though. That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you were there, so let me let you get your one off.
Yeah, it was
With regard to the thing.
It was I want to thank brother Kaiser for a great demonstration first. You know what I mean? Because he did do a great job with the interview. Great questions, good questions that I like how Kaiser do it too, because he's asking the questions I want to ask, but doing it in a way where it's going to be all good at the end. Like I like that. I like how he puts those questions because I got the answers I wanted. Like for instance, with the Walter Bristol thing, that's still kind of iffy with me because of because I wanted to know where he got that from, and then where he said he got it from was the census, and then I'm like, man, I don't like those census things.
Yeah.
Because I literally have experience with those census things. Like we lost land because of those census. You know what I mean? Like because of the fraudulent and the classification that they put in those census, the changing of the names of our titles in those census, my consanguinity literally lost land because of that. Like we lost a lot of acres because of that census thing. Like that was a problem with that labeling and stuff. Because now when you go get your land back, you got to get it back as Indian. You got to go through that part and prove it through the census, which the census we know means Roman property. So it's like colored. It's colored. Like my family, like my great grandfather who came here from so-called Antigua, they have him down as Adolphus Williams. He's not no a Williams, period. He's not a Williams at all. But they couldn't spell his name, so they just said Williams. And now later down the road, almost 100 and something years now, we're still carrying on that Williams, because when he got here, they couldn't spell his last name, so they just threw on Williams, and now he's in the census. And then we have to use that information today to prove that Noble Drew Ali was Walter Bristol. Like, that was kind of like, I was like, I don't know about that. And a lot of things is in a title. Now this is just, my personal opinion. I'm not saying with any facts, but there is a lot of things with the title. Like, you can't just call somebody out their name. Like we did this years ago when we broke down the prophet's title, the Drew, with the Drew going back to the Druids, and also going back to the oak tree, which the oak tree was one of the ancientest trees on the planet. And the oak tree, one of the first things that was used for currency was wood. And then like all of that just in the title, and then now Walter, like really? Walter? Like, as soon as I heard that, first thing I think of is the movie in Kid and Play, right? When she said, "Come back to bed, Walter," and that was his wrong name. That was the wrong name. That wasn't even he was like, Walter? Who's Walter? Like, that wasn't even the right name. And then I'm like, they're using it again, the Walter. Like, that was kind of like red flags up. Like, because I tell you, Grand Sheik, I love my prophet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna stand up for Noble Drew Ali to the end. I'm not gonna be iffy with someone who saved my life. Like, there's no reason. Like, you saved us. You know what I mean? And for him to just start lying about who he was and stuff like that, I don't know. I don't. Why do all of that? And then Islam, brother Kaiser.
Islam. Look, boy. One word to sum it all up: tenure.
Say it again.
Tenure.
Tenure. Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, more.
I talked with him beforehand. Tenure, and that's all I can really say about that.
Yeah.
So people got
real quick, because I really got a clue with that when he said his colleagues no longer call it the Dark Ages. I caught it. I know what you're saying, more.
They don't
so
like it
okay.
more. They don't like the idea of thinking of themselves as dark. Does that sound like somebody let go of the reins more?
Yep. So as soon as he said it, I said, okay, so you got to be careful what you're saying, because you got friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which we respect the position. You know what I mean? Because it ain't no different than Ivan Van Sertima.
And it's like he had to stand on the square a little bit, because when Cujo was like, "Hold up, it's something," and he was like, "Yeah, he could be his brother," but it's crazy because that's in his website where he's the one who suggested it may be a brother, but there's no way to. It's all speculation, because the only way to really know this is to dig up Noble Drew Ali and Walter, but nobody knows where Walter's buried, and Noble Drew Ali might not even be in there, because these people grave robbed that place, because that's the same graveyard that Emmett Till supposedly is in.
Yeah, and they robbed
Who knows if our ancestors is even in there? Crap.
I've been thinking about that for years, man. The prophet's body been doing rituals with it every year.
Yeah, more. Yes, he's Muhammad. He's Muhammad.
Yep.
But we know what we mean when we say that, not like on a worshiping sense, but in the esoteric sense.
Yeah.
He's the one that brought Islam, like basically against these Christians to subjugate our people by way of subvergence of infiltrators and foreigners, foreign rituals, Moors that have been born again to rule over us, like crazy shit. It's like half of the people alive right now they're not capable to conceive like how crazy this system is.
Oh, and the ritualistic aspect that they do to our ancestors, the great ones, especially because they know Noble Ali is the avatar. He's the avatar. He's the one.
He's the one.
He came before his Tuscanawada, I think his name is I can't remember how to say it, but it's Tecumseh's younger brother, the one who was supposed to be the drunkard who drunk himself into the spirits, or he conjured basically that same soul aspect. And it's crazy because he was born on January and he died in 1836, which is the treaty. Then the 50-year anniversary of treaty when it's supposed to be signed again. Prophet. I mean.
Oh. Okay.
The Shawnee prophet is connected to our prophet, and that go all the way back to the Kanawita, the prophet of the great peace. So it's crazy with Noble Ali. He's a little it can send chills through you, and it's insane to me that like all these people that claim Indian, they go so at the prophet when Indian is part of the Indian culture. I mean, prophet is part of the Indian culture. Like they're all supposed to have prophets. The prophets is over the goddamn Sagamores. The prophets is looked at as the president of the nation. But they, what would you know, right? The prophet would want to show us prophet and not, all that other stuff. Take us right to the top of the whole, took us right to the point and called us more. So if it would be Indian or whatever, we'd be the junior, we'd be like what would you call it? Like the governors. We'd be like the governors.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask a quick question? Because I might have missed it. Did he go in on the prophet and his wife? Did he explain that, where he got that information from?
He didn't really explain where he got it from. He just, kind of went into it. Like, oh, this is Eva, and you can see her picture on my website. That they're the same person. They look exactly alike. Now watch this. The gang. Think about this, Morris. It's so easy, but it's crazy. I got. It's some things that I was just thinking about. If he got people in there, tenure, right, that are not trying to deal with dark ages no more, then it serves the right for him to go in this direction that he's going. Like, oh, look at how they look, even though they don't look alike, because to his colleagues, all of us look alike. We know darn well. We look at Noble Ali and look at that boy, and we like, man, this nigga got a perm. Then he like, oh, well, they had flat irons. Man, I got the picture. We got the picture of Noble Ali when he was a baby, thanks to Ali. Nappy. He got a picture of Ali when he was on the goddamn the train. Nappy. Thanks to damn Ali. But this is we got our own record of it, but like I say, he got to do it a way where he could tell a story, or it won't be told.
Right.
Now let me ask this. I don't know if this got clear, because I heard Brother Kaiser asked a great question that yesterday when you asked him how long has he been studying this information, and it led up to him explaining when the book was originally supposed to come out, and in 2019. But my question to that would be, because in 2 years ago, before the so-called pandemic, Moors was moving. We was doing our thing, being able to have people come across, invite the Grand Sheik over to speak. Moors traveling, everybody was doing their thing. And then my question is, why would the book come out then? Like, he's been doing this, the Negro Jew stuff and all of that. But now all of a sudden you want to drop a book when Noble Ali is very popular at the time. It seems like, because in 2015 to 2020, it was just the Moors was all over everything.
Yeah, well, he had made reference to that. Remember, he made reference to that even it messed him up with putting out the book.
Because he was going to make it just a chapter, but when he went into the Moors, he seen how far back that shit went. Because I think he started this around 2011, but like when he so it took 15 years. So but like when it initially started, like he just thought it was going to be like a chapter, but then when he seen how deep it got and when all the politics and everything around Noble Drew Ali, he like, wait, who is this guy? Like, how come he ain't talked about in Black history? Then he seen how like they tried to hide him, so it's like, oh wait, I gotta tell this story. But that's why it was like I preferenced it, because it's like he was never his thing was never to bring like no shade to the prophet or like bring no confusion. It's these people that never read his book that only deal with pictures, and they've like remember when Lord Abba went crazy and had all them jerks and MBK and all these people. Oh, we know his name was Thomas. That's all of them going off of this, the Patrick Bowen, when they probably didn't even really have a bad, like they didn't intend it to be a thing. It's just this is some academia stuff.
Yeah.
The
That's
Negroes.
some hunting for info.
Oh, Mr. Danny Boy, Capaway. He did his, remember he did his little video with Karamio and all that.
Yeah.
His name is not Timothy Drew. His name is not. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
We had to scimitar him. That's back when it first like came out, because we was on it. Like I pre-ordered it. We had already seen the picture and everything. I had sent it to Cujo and all that. So we was like already up on it. So when they came, we was like, we already ready for this. And it's like, but none of them, they never even read it. They never even talked to him to see what was his point of all this. That's what I like wanted to do it for, because nobody really interviewed him to show why.
Islam Morel.
Islam
what's good?
Islam more. Wait, my mic was on the whole time?
I think so. I wasn't looking at the screen.
Oh, my apologies, Moy.
Oh, you straight? There was nothing going on. I wasn't hearing nothing. What are you saying? What's good?
Islam more. More just responding to the video. Just responding to the video what's his name?
Jacob Dorman.
Jacob Dorman was dropping on these Indians and DJ Bay and all those guys. Yeah, man, that information was pertinent. Because what can you do against overwhelmingly positive? What can you do against that?
Yeah. And so you also recognize that the overwhelmingly positive is from a sincere place.
I comprehend. From my comprehension, yeah.
Yeah.
And more.
It's like
those guys. What? I wasn't there to watch the video between the black guys and Jacob. What was their beef after hearing that report from Jacob? Did they have anything else to say?
No, I don't know yet, but from before, because when Kasir sent it to me, there was parts of it that he told me to check, so I didn't even watch the whole thing like that. You know what I mean? And the parts where they're talking about it, they're trying to make it seem like he's proven something. He's proven something to show that Noble Drew Ali is a fraud or something like that. Is the angle that they're looking at it.
Yeah, like so like he went on there and basically it was just DJ at first, so they like blindsided him, and DJ came on there and just he broke the book down and talked about his whole point, and then DJ pulled on that dude Tomahawk Tony, and then his ignorance, and he's on there and I just see him, I'm like, what is this dude about to do? And then it got to the point where like they asking questions. He's like, all right, like, so this is the part where we got questions. So I don't really have no questions right now. I'm just going to spin it over to Tomahawk Tony because he has some questions for you. And he started to like berate him. Like it was like questionnaire, like, yo, it's yeah, peace, yeah. And he tried to he was about the Islam DJ, but then he stopped. Because it's like it's almost like he remembered DJ told him beforehand, yeah, I'm not really into the prophet and all that. I'm more by blood, but I don't really, I didn't come through now watch the game. Watch the game. Yo, this nigga's is like Spin Master. At first he was saying like, oh, I'm a temple more. I came under this temple in Detroit. We exposed him. We showed that he never was through the temple. Now he's saying, oh, I'm a more by blood. I came through. I'm not even African more. I'm a European more. See, I'm connected to the Lenape people. See, whoa, Spin Master. I thought you was a temple more at first. How you blood now? You copying off of what we talk about. But that he basically brought through a whole nother dude from the Wild Indians to try to berate
Jacob.
Hold on. Islam more. So he's not a temple more no more?
Oh no, he a blood more now. He was born by blood.
See, I didn't even know that. I only know DJ as a temple more. I never even heard what you're saying right now. I didn't even know that. I only know him to go through the temple as a more. I don't.
Because I had exposed him about. I called the temple that he said he was with, and they said they never knew him. I showed him the new videos, I showed him the old videos, I showed him everything. They like, we don't know him. I'm like, oh well, damn. He's saying he with y'all. He like, no, we don't know him. See, we got something called the dead list that the prophet gave us, and I'm like, what's the dead list? He's like, this is what happens when you come through the temple. 10 years go by and you pop up, try to come back in the temple. We put you on the dead list. Oh, okay. So if he was a Moor, he on the dead list now. Now he more by blood.
They playing club membership. They say his membership card expired.
Where you been, boy? His slave papers is up. Where you been, boy? So like, yeah, he's a spin master. Like, but based off that, like, I noticed how when Tomahawk Tony was trying to berate him the most, he started standing on his square, and he said off the rip, wow, I didn't know I was going to be up here defending the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I said, whoa, what? Yeah. What? So it's almost like he was saying it to damn DJ, like, yeah, hey, Moore, I didn't know I was going to be up here defending your prophet. And then he like, yeah, their prophet. I'm like, DJ, you're Moore, but how is the Moorish prophet not your prophet?
Like, see how much of a contradiction?
Yeah. You can't do the temple on your blood more.
I mean, how Jacob's looking at it.
Yeah. Yep.
That he's talking to a Moor and he's defending the prophet more than the Moor, who is his prophet.
You're not listening. You're not listening for any form of for any form of intellectual upliftment for the nation. You're only listening so that they can attack.
Yep.
They're not for the people. That's the thing. They're only for your own ego. Look what I can do. Look what I did. I shut the Prophet Noble Drew Ali down. That's what their motive is. Their motive isn't to do anything. Their motive is just to be seen. And they got exposed by Jacob. Yo, I can't believe I'm defending their prophet.
Cool, Joe. Play the thing. Play the thing. You gotta run that jump. You gotta run it.
Real quick though, because he brought up an interesting thing real quick. Because now there's maybe somebody asked the guy the question. What's his last name again? Norman? What's his name?
Dorman.
The author. Dorman. Sorry about that. I apologize. Dorman. What was the reason why he wrote the book?
He said he noticed there wasn't enough. There was like basically no information about the prophet in academia.
What? I hope he didn't say that, because there's plenty of books about Noble Drew Ali. Maybe not the Walter Bristol and the wife stuff that he was talking about.
I think it's from that aspect.
And basically the political wheel that was going, like how, like, because there's a lot of the stuff he was bringing up, I never heard nobody really put it like that, like,
oh yeah, that political side. Okay, yeah, yep, I see that part right there. I can comprehend. You know, nobody is showing the importance of the ties that he had, the prophet. Like, I didn't know about, about the dang, I forgot the guy who was the first senator that was next to the prophet. What's his name again?
Or Oscar the Priest.
Oscar the Priest.
I didn't know all the money in all the so-called money in Chicago. Well, it was money. It was money then. All the money in Chicago had to go through Oscar the Priest. He said the prostitutes, the basically the gambler people, all of them sent money to Oscar the Priest.
Because he was the crime, he was like the crime organizer, like he was the one who oversaw all the crime of the dark skinned people. And then like what was the other dude? Jack Ginzik, he was the one who oversaw all the Italians. And then you got, the Italian governor, Thomas or Thompson, and then you got Sam Insull. He was a Jewish banker, so he just had all the funds. So they were killing it when it come to politics. Even if you put the corruption in there, that's where the prophet comes in, because he balances out the good stuff with the bad stuff. And then he got his Moors, because like we could put whoever we want to put in. We doing a block vote based on me. Right. They all gonna go with who I say we go with, and that because he gonna get in. And it wasn't more. They tried to in history. They give Oscar the Priest's seat. Him getting there, they give it to damn Ida B. Wells, the lady who had all the pictures of the people, the pictures of the Moors hanging. What you doing with them pictures, lady? Mm-hmm. They said she was the one who got Oscar the Priest to see, and it's like, what? That's skipping the prophet and putting in some FBI agent in place. What you doing with them pictures?
I always said that they made those pictures up. They doctored them. Those ain't real.
They real. It's just that when they not what they like, how they be like, oh, we hung slaves. Question more. If a slave is worth like $2, right? And then all the money you got to worry about with keeping your upkeep, why would you kill the slave? That's like killing one of your horses if you got or killing a cow if you got a farm. Why would you kill the slave and then cut his body up, and his body is worth more than a slave is worth? What's that about? Mm-hmm. The pieces of the body is worth more than the slave is worth. That's an emperor right there. That's a cotton gin owner. And then when you get the so-called KKK or the first posse of comitatus, aka sovereign citizens, was these citizens that was poor Europeans that they got to join in army brigades to attack the South, who was the slave masters. So they was hanging their own slave masters and shit, cutting them up, selling the stuff for a bunch of money. Because now all the people there look all dirty faced. They was the slaves working. So, who wouldn't enjoy their slave master being hung and all that? We free. The ones who survived, they was Masons.
The inside. The insides go.
And then they made
movies. You gotta explain that. I'm not trying to be real quick more. I'm not trying to be I just wanted to be clarified with this slavery thing, because I really think that thing is a whole hoax from its concept. Like for instance, we didn't know nothing about slavery until Roots came out, and then like even when they show the pictures and stuff, the pictures, I mean, all the way into the sit-ins, the civil rights movements and all this stuff was led by Boule members. the sit-ins that people got poured milk on their heads was led by Boule members.
That's a Masonic ritual they doing in public to make people.
But what I'm saying too is even the slave hanging pictures that we see, I don't even think that's real. I think those is actors. I think that's a whole acting thing to just 200 years from now, y'all gonna look at that like, oh, just like they do now. We know that they lying, everything that they doing, but 200-300 years from now, when they talk about this pandemic, they're gonna be reading it like it was just devastation everywhere. Yeah, because they're getting ready to rechange history, and I think that aspect of those pictures, talking about us as slaves, showing us as slaves, was just a part of changing history. I don't think that stuff was real at all. Like, period. Like, I think those people dressed up, looking muddy and stuff, those, because I done seen slave pictures with more Morbiduses standing there, supposed to be slaves, and they holding up pyramid signs and Eastern Star sign symbolism standing there. And I'm like, those ain't slaves. They holding up Eastern Star symbolisms. You got a pyramid in your hand, lady? You a slave? You ain't no slave. Somebody in here acting, sending signals to the future Boule members who gonna sign up and do the same thing. Because they lying now.
Yeah.
They do the same thing. They tell us to go get the shot, go do this, go vote, go do, and all of that is leading us back into the thoughts of slavery. Because physically, I don't see how they was just tying us up, whipping us on some field. When you look up plantation in Black Law Dictionary, it says a corporation. Like, that's why I don't look like somebody got to explain that whole, because even Dorman, he kept saying, you know, the Moors who came here from Africa as slaves, and I'm like, see, that part right there.
They telling history in reverse. Look, the slave masters was the dark skinned people. But when you say slave, that brings in a whole like connotation that we were doing something wrong to people. And even indentured servant, we had a system, a business, an industry where workers could come from poor nations, become billionaires by working, by putting in some work, and you get your own. That's not a slave system. That's perfection. And then so like that's what we had. Like what they did was switched around what meant what on paper. There was never like we weren't slaves, but that like if those were an act, so be it. Because these people make everything's a movie with them. It's all
that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
But there is a history of like the so African people, right? The ones that came here, because there's an African who talked about this, but he was like, everybody in the world looked at us as the gods. Like, so Africans worshipped us as their gods. When they came over here to work, like, and the Europeans would treat them harshly sometimes. And we was like stuck up. We were like, man, it ain't us. Like, we see how good with our buildings is. They don't build like we was cocky like how we is now. And then so when they would get done dirty or whatever, certain situations we wouldn't even care. It was like, man, well, that ain't our people. And that is what the European used to get us into where we at now. Our boastfulness about being proud to be American and not looking at anybody else as being part of our stuff is what he used to go against us. Like later, like just start giving all the people who we were saying, man, ain't us, giving them all the provisions, then all this stuff when he doing his little corporation game. So now when everything flipped, we forget, that we had lands, all that stuff is like we in now, like where we at 2021. All these people is getting provisions to play the damn United States in. And we like, what the fuck? Stop doing that. And they like, okay, the secret is we not going to tell y'all that y'all run the world and y'all gods no more. We just going to receive all y'all benefits for playing the game.
Yep.
And never tell us that all we need to do is unifying class action. And then it'll be a wrap. We never even thought like unify together and class action these people for calling y'all citizens because it's illegal. But we'll be here for 25 more years.
And to me, that comes from our own. It's not. It ain't got nothing to do with them colonists. It's our own because they keep promoting the Black Lives Matter. Us people of color, we need to da 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 da. And it's like, you guys, that's not gonna work. You guys got to stop doing. But they know, because behind closed doors, you guys are Shriners and Eastern Stars and stuff. So you got the more science. You know the truth. Like, but see, now it gets, because I got this book called Freemasons, right? In it, it says it's easier to name the people who aren't Freemasons than to name the people who are, because that's how many people are Freemasons. So it's like everybody's selling out.
Yeah, every group this that we could think of got a Masonic order to it. Even the Mafia got Masonic orders. And guess what the flag symbol is for the head Mafia group in the world? Goddamn Corsica flag.
Of course. Why not?
The mob, because the secret, they gotta have that Moorish blood to even beat, man.
But the Dorman guy, it was just very interesting that his book came out at the time where Moors are just doing their thing. Like that to me is always going to be in the back of my mind. Like my sister would say, "Who sent you?" Because out of nowhere, you're just like, but like I understand Morris keeps saying, "Oh, but he didn't write the book," because he said it. I didn't write the book to cause any problems or anything. Hey, I hear what you're saying, but I know what your book did. I heard you, but your book is causing confusion. Like, I hear what you're saying, but that book is not doing what you're saying. Your book is saying things about my prophet that I'm not liking. So, like, and then you keep saying, oh, it's scholarship that backs it. And then I'm like, that's not scholarship, that's colonization tactics. You're using colonization titles to put my prophet underneath.
Now, is it the things in the book this causing this anguish, or is it the way that people receive the information?
Oh, it's both, more. It's definitely it's both. It's both. It's both. But you gotta remember.
Saying, oh, prophet was just he in a circus. Then it's like, well, wait, what does that mean?
But this is what it does.
Why is that a bad thing?
We comprehend that. We comprehend that because we study. But the more who just come into this information, no, not at all. They looking at this man like, oh, he was just some clown in the general aspect, not the etymology. You know, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And when we
I know what he's saying. We know what he's saying. Yeah.
When we ask the source of where all that was coming from, the confusion, he says, oh, yeah, well, the circus was like Hollywood back in the day. Like, he wasn't doing a circus. He wasn't doing nothing.
Oh, I'm glad you said that too, Moore. I'm glad you said that. Now, my prophet, he's the prophet. He's the avatar. He's also known as a doctor, the president, etc. And then his book comes on, as you said, calling my prophet an entertainer. Like, he's just some entertainer guy. Hollywood putting, and that's, again, the stigma where we're only popular because we're poets and singers and entertainer guys. Like, we try to get away from that now, and I get it. In that aspect, if you're just coming to the information, entertainment is very, catching for our people in the lower vibration. But as soon as but I thought we're dealing with scholarship, so he should know that an entertainer guy ain't nothing.
Yeah,
ain't nobody looking.
But remember, tenure.
Right, tenure.
You killing me, Greenwich. You the man. Like, we're gonna use them, I know, but tenure.
Crazy. Tenure.
Telling you, bro, it makes it so easy when you just tenure. Everything is like, oh yeah, it makes so much sense. Like,
but having the conversation is so people can know that You know what I'm saying? Not because tenure means that we're not going to talk about. We're not the ones with tenure. You know what I mean? So we're going to talk about certain stuff.
So now, if we look at it
give
this
thanks
way,
to you, Grand Sheik,
no
for doing that
early
too.
Noble Drew Ali, no Shirley Temple, no Hollywood, no Stephen Fetchit, no rappers, no hip hop, none of that. Because he started it like
he started his life as Walter Bristol, who was a circus guy. That was the first trumpeter.
The first.
Everybody followed after him.
Yo,
everybody.
In the book, he says that his inspiration of playing that cornet inspired Louis Armstrong to become the Satchmo because he used to go to his shows. You can't see when you do it like that. I'm like, damn, that's something to think about. Like the Prophet started Louis Armstrong, and you got to think, what does music in that form mean to Black so-called Black history and all that? The whole tap dancing scene, the whole like basically how they had it jumping while the European was going through what was it? World War, whatever, recession. This dude collapsed the whole joint. We was dancing, tapping. Everybody was still making money. This is how the underworld became the thing. Like we still had the lottery going. We still was playing numbers. We still had speakeasies. We was killing it when he went down the drain. Sure, we became gangsters, but it comes with the territory when you got all these ruffians coming in here with their little crap.
Right.
Oh, y'all want to do gang stuff? We cut people smooth too. Oh, y'all bringing in your alcohol? Oh, my grandma know how to make alcohol too. We got to speakeasies. Until certain governors, there was Italians, made it legal for them to run through the hood and flood basements out. That's why every time I see the movie Home Alone, it's weird. It's like, why do they? What is that? What's the point of flooding them basements out in that movie? Why? Man, it make me think of what happened in Philly and all these cities where we had our stuff jumping. They flooded our basements out. Next thing you know, Jewish insurance companies happening, but they wasn't dealing with us. Racial classifications. Oh, we don't deal with all of that.
That's what I'm talking about. Going right back to that census. That's why I don't like it. That's why I don't like it. That book, man, it just, I'll be like, man, no, like, I can't let it slide. You know, that's my prophet, man. I can't let certain, you're going to write a book about my prophet, it has to be true and exact. It can't be, well, maybe it could be this, and then write a whole chapter about it, and it's a maybe. And it's like, nah, man, I don't like, what are you doing that for? Why are you, I don't like, I know it's tenure. It's tenure, but I'm still worried. I'm still worried about that. I'm still worried. I showed you, Ashkenazi means German. They spoke Yiddish. Those is not so-called Moors. I don't know how to do that. Like, because Hebrew, I can't say Hebrew, because Hebrew is not a so-called Hebrew word. That's a Greek word. So you can't say that. And it's like, I can't call them that. So it's a lot of stuff going on. They had to learn how to speak Canaanite or Phoenician, whatever. They spoke Yiddish. They don't speak our ancient tongue. They're not that. That's crazy. Like, but like the Grand Sheik said, tenure more. Tenure.
And we know off the rip. I mean, because remember when Grand Sheik was like, look, well, he don't look like him. And I'm like, yeah, you know, what's this hair about? He's like, well, you get flat press hair. See, we're not talking about you get flat press hair. He doesn't look like him and his hair is different.
No. He's a Moor. I know a Moor when I see a Moor. That's a Moor. He just don't want to say he a Moor.
Like he don't look like Noble Drew Ali.
No, he don't look like Noble Drew Ali, but we're copper complexion. olive, you know, different shades. He's olive complexion. He will be one of those, wouldn't he be?
Yeah. But if this Walter Brister character though, like when we
That
see the
hurt
picture
me.
that he throws up, if we see how he looks, we like, oh, that don't look like the prophet. I don't know where we're going, but he like, oh yeah, no, he became the prophet. It's like, well, how come he don't? How come Noble Drew Ali don't look like older him?
Right.
The mole, he's like, it's a mole there. I can't see the mole. The only place where I see sort of a mole is in the picture that he got on a jump. But the only reason I see it is because like when you zoom in, it's the way the it's like the grid lines of the damn picture. So
The
and it's
mole.
like, there's no mole there. Like
The
the way
mole.
Noble Drew Ali mole is, that's doing prominent. Where is it at in this guy's face? Should be prominent.
The mole.
And then again, they don't look alike. How are they the same guy?
Only thing.
Oh, let me ask this too. What's the deal with the Moors and Muslims? Why does he think that's the same? Like, did we get an explanation about that?
Oh, it's the way academia do it.
Yeah, that's oh.
Because remember, when they say Muslim, they're referring to the time of the Moors. They're not talking about Sunni Shiite or whatever.
Yeah, like that. That's later. Yeah, it's later.
You know what I mean?
But does he see more as a consanguinity or as, oh, that's just a different Muslim? Because I heard him say there's no way you can prove that your ancestor was basically practicing Islam. And I'm like, brother, that's not what we talking about. We talking about bloodline.
No, he's saying there's no way you could prove that you part of the Moorish bloodline based off of the Moors from ancient time or whatever. And it's like, that's speculative, but it's just based off of the way that academia is going to look at something. All right, meaning. Now watch. It's funny. Academia tells us that every single dark-skinned person in upper North America, being so-called Canada, right? Then we got the so-called United States, then we got so-called Mexico, then we got so-called South America, and then we got the conjoined islands, right?
See?
All the dark-skinned people in all those places, they're telling us they came from one section in Africa, being west.
Oh, back to that.
Southwest, Western Africa and sort of central. So all of us came from one little sector. Well, how come we didn't all come from all parts?
There we go, more. Now we talking.
Like, oh, no, we didn't come. Y'all didn't come from the north because that's the Europeans up there. Oh no, y'all didn't come from the south because it's the Sudanians. Wait. So we only came from the middle of Africa, and all of us are here.
But he knows that because he knows that that's what he calls it. What is that? Western power, Western imperialism. When the Western,
Orientalism.
He even says it for his people. Like everything's explained through Westernism. So you should, but except when it comes to us.
Yep.
Like that's the crazy part. That's what I was about to say that yesterday when he said it, because I'm like, but except when it comes to us, because now we're back to being melanated and dark skinned, and like we can't just be called Moors, huh? The whole show. I'm like, we're Asiatics, dark skinned. You're just not gonna call us Moors. That's crazy.
That won't happen in academia sense until we put a civil case on this damn United States for calling us citizens. Until we really do that, because that's what these state schools and these federal funded schools respect. What the federal government recognizes. So if we kill them in some Supreme Court case based off of all of us coming together and putting these people on notice, like as a whole nation, though, it'll be a wrap. You'll see all types of stuff about Moors start popping out. It blow your mind. Then that's when the prophet voice will pop up, when we take these people to federal court and sue them for all the stuff. But who knows when that'll take effect, because you still got people
logic in their proper person.
Right.
That's why it's
But I know
hilarious when I listen to Chime.
we're not supposed to sue our brothers and but these people are causing issue because they rather take because okay, I got a book that I just got. It's called Who Runs the Schools? And on the front cover it has Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, the senator of New Jersey now, who's a Moore, and it's going in about how they. Well, Steve Coakley already talked about it, but they've been doing this, picking and choosing Negro leaders to support us in those political things. So, like when you just said, "Oh, we need to sue them because they're in control of the schools and stuff like that," it's these Negroes who they put in positions who are taking the federal funding to put these people in these schools and these teachers in these positions to, if you don't do this way, you're going to get fired. But they put in Negroes in those positions. For instance, because even, and that's crazy because Steve Coakley talked about it in the 90s, but the senator of New Jersey right now, he's a Rhodes Scholar and he's dark skinned. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Steve Coakley talked about y'all. And then the whole time when we were doing class yesterday, I'm like, all these people that he was talking about, Steve Coakley was talking about them, and all of them being part of the Black Cabinet, which they was all taking money from Roosevelt. And the leader of the Black Cabinet was a woman, a Moorish woman, who this is in the time of Jim Crow, and so-called Negroes got to drink from this water fountain and all of that stuff. She's having private dinners with Eleanor Roosevelt. These were the Boule member leaders. These are the leaders. These are the people. The dude who was the editor of the Chicago newspaper, who he was talking about, Dorman. Steve Coakley was talking about him.
Yep, Abbott.
These people were all agents, all of them, picked specifically.
And look at how the temperature has changed from back then to now. Back then, it was it was mainly Steve Coakley because he knew everything. He knew all he was going to do in the paper. Now the papers are like everybody fingertips. So things like, even though we know he's a scumbucket, but that Jane Cackaway had that little debate with Judge, whatever his name is, Judge Joe Brown. There was a lot of stuff, even though it was probably staged, but there was a lot of things brought to the table and forefront. Basically, there's a contention that dark-skinned people don't want to be labeled with Africa. And people like the big guy up there, he's like, well, look, I'm a Mason. Yeah, I'm a damn Mason. Yeah, I'm a Shriner. I don't think y'all that's cool. I don't think that's right that y'all that you could say you from this land and you not African. Yeah, I got Cherokee in my blood too. What do that mean? I'm like, what the? Well, how the damn? He talked about knowing Moors and all that. So what we seeing is we're finally having that confrontation with the people who've been hiding all this information, where they can't really tell us we lying no more. It's too much information out here. It's too much stuff going on. So that confrontation is going to it's basically the energies is here to have that had that discussion with whoever. Damn, Trump had to get his ass out of there because he was about to. I'm surprised there wasn't just a Moore Act, MOOR. The people that you are calling dark and black and are really Moors, because this everything he did was about us getting, our justice, or just knowing what's really going on. And it basically everything, how we've been saying, revolves around us not knowing who we are. He said, he said, instead of dark skinned people, he said, if y'all don't learn who y'all are, slavery's going to happen again. He had to get out of there. You can't have that. He can't have this man speaking to them like that. That's too much. I'm telling y'all what my people are planning, y'all. if you don't learn who you are, like really who you are, you're going back into slavery.
Yeah. Hey,
that's the prophet talking through him. Like what?
Yep. Hey, I'm gonna give Dorman his credit for explaining to me the Payne situation, the Clarence Payne and his the attorney. What was their attorney's name?
Yeah, Aaron
Aaron
Payne
Payne
and the
and
prophet.
Aaron Payne
brothers.
and his brother. Aaron Payne was the prophet's attorney, so called, and Clarence Payne, who was
He's a
the
doctor.
prophet's doctor, who the the thing that they said the prophet had died from, his doctor was basically majored in that. And you know, like that part, like soon as he said it, I was like, well, if he knows that about that disease in and out, he also knows what can kill you in and out.
Yeah.
So, and then I was like, wow, man, like that. And then he tied it back to to that hospital, Clarence Payne's hospital, that got a $3 million they raised $3 million in donations or whatever. So you already know somebody paid them off in the guise of he was raising money.
That was
Right
Samuel
after the
Insull.
prophet had died, that was crazy.
That was Samuel Insull, because the mob was bending his arm back for everything he did for the Moors. Because he basically was the one who funded the Moors' first building. I think it used to be the Nice of Pythias? I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was the Nice of Pythias symbol. But he owned that building or whatever, kicked the Nice of Pythias out and gave that joint to the Moors. So when the Moors was in there doing everything, and then they started getting so much finance, Oyobos start losing their mind, like how they always do. It's like, why are they making so much? Who is this dude? And when they would come and see the prophet and notice, like, oh snap, that ain't even really a regular. Okay, what can we do with him? Nothing. No, we've already tried. We're just gonna have to we have a plan, but we got to let it work. And they like, what's the plan? We're going to infiltrate them with their own and see if they can get them out of here. And they like, oh, that worked all the time before. Put one of the Masons in there. And that's how it was. Prophet knew that already. Like, a lot of the prophet's messages were cry outs because he knew he was about to get his
top of his
because
lungs.
Now, I'm glad you said that. Because now when you post a picture with the prophet sitting with all them people, I know everybody who watched the class last night looked at that picture totally different.
Yeah.
More. You started looking at that picture like, well, wait a minute.
Because look, Oscar the priest ain't really care about the prophet. He just like, look, you get me in there, cool. I'm gonna take care of the gangs on the southeast side. He like, all right. Then when he dealing with the European, look, remember he was saying it. I got the Asiatic in one hand, I got the damn European in the. I got the world in the jug. He talking about, bro, if I let go of this shit, Chicago will fall, bro. I got all these gangs. I got the whole mafia. Everything is controlled, and I got all the damn light bearers, which is y'all. The peace, the ones that's going to clean up the streets when I take care of the rest of these people. Yeah. And then they start turning on him, listening to the ones he had in chambers. He had all the damn rat holes there stopped up. The prophet was a mobster.
Prophet was the man.
That's crazy, bro. What the Godfather's about the prophet. If you can't see that, that's literally what he had around him. But then his own people started to come.
If I told you everything, you go back to sleep.
And then that came out after the prophet. This man, leave him alone. He's in a league of his own when it comes to this like politics, like economics, what ownership, real estate. Y'all want to deal with that? He knew how to discharge. I seen documents. It said discharge fee. I'm like, what the prophet was doing? It was all this stuff that we see today that people run around gurus. Prophet. He was the first one. He was the first one. Yo, like
so I was real thankful that he put that connection together. That was a great, because that leads on to other things now. Because like with Clarence Payne I think it was Grand Sheik. Somebody had showed a document with Clarence Payne's Moorish title. In Aaron Payne's title, I think they were Ali's or L's or whatever.
Aaron Payne L.
Yeah, Aaron Payne L. Okay, so I know they had ties with not a lot what Pool Bay. What was it? But Pool. Yeah, Elijah Pool Bay. So I'm like, did Clarence and Aaron still have ties to the Nation of Islam? Did they know him? Was there still ties to like you know how like
bro, they all knew each other, bro.
Exactly.
Bro.
Like put everybody's face on the board. You know how they got the big whiteboard and they put their names on it. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to know how is all this tied? Whose children, what organizations they, because Steve Coakley does it beautiful. Yeah. He'll tie you down to the tip point. I was going crazy when he dang, I forgot who her dad was. Another the light-skinned lady who's in the Black Panther Party from back in the day with the afro.
Yeah.
The popular one. I forgot her name.
Yeah, Davis.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Her grandfather
Angela
was
Davis.
one of the first agents or whatever to work for Rockefeller not Rockefeller, Theodore Roosevelt when he was setting up that black cabinet and all of that. Her grandfather was part of it. And I was like, yo, look it.
And then you notice he never talked about James Wormley Jones.
Yeah, him too.
Because bro, I'm telling you, bro, there's a cap on the things that they're gonna let them go into in academia. Because it's too easy with all that information to see what really happened. If they let one tweet get off, like one instance that the Civil War was like, this is the type of stuff you be talking about yourself. Civil War was never fought. It was never really, nobody shot anybody, but there were civil cases in court. People didn't show up because they didn't know they were being called, and acquiescence, and now we're taking your stuff. We didn't even know how these people were doing anything because they had their own weird way, legalese and all that. And then we had our own, the Indian way or the Moorish way, whatever you want to call it. We had our own way. He made some new stuff. Noble Drew Ali learned it somehow and was telling us, look, this is how we're going to run it. We need this. We need that. We need it. Look, they want us to have a church. Cool. Our belief is that we believe in our family lines. What's up? And then like, oh, wow, I never thought about it. See, this dude was like way ahead of his time. He had people playing of religion as their actual birthright and bloodline. Like what you believe in. Oh, I believe in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Of what? Oh, my father's free national name and flag. And it go all the way back to my mother's national name and flag. Well, what's that? You read the Bible? Yeah. Oh, Canaanites and Moabites. Oh. See, because he's giving them ammo for being in the eyes of the corporate, structure back in the 20s. Everybody all Bibled out and stupid, but they would respect you if you knew your Bible. This man he had it. He had it to where you can convert it from Bible to politics to history to whatever, archaeology. He pulling stuff out of the ground and go back to Murney's. How? How? Who is this dude? Like, that ain't in the book, but if we mix what we know with what he, attempted to do, we can see a farther scope of the prophet. I did it like this. I took Walter Brister as a code for Noble Drew Ali when he was the man before the prophet. But I know his name wasn't no Walter Brister or nothing like that, but that's the code I use. So when people are like, oh, he was Walter Brister, I'm just like, oh, yeah, he's not trying to get this. You're trying to be confused, so you're going to be confused. I don't let that bother me no more. I see the prophet was too much for most people to grasp in one lifetime. So
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that part too.
Maybe they'll get it next time.
With the Walter Bristol, because now I'm looking at it like, okay, so for those who are just coming in, his real name was Walter Bristol. So he's not Noble Drew Ali the prophet. So you guys can go back to being black now. Like if that was what that meant. I don't get it.
It's like if his name was like Weasel, it wouldn't even matter. The fact that he told me the 14th and 15th Amendment is not needed for the salvation of my people, and then Georgia echoed that in law like 30 years later after he passed. I'm like, man, look, this dude a prophet.
What more you need?
Because what makes it even if he with all that he added in, what makes him not a prophet?
Because that statement alone, you just saved the whole nation of people. There's nobody else on the planet that's trying to promote that but him.
And they never echoed it yet.
And they trying to block it, make it seem like we crazy.
Man, we talking about laws that been hidden. And when you read the law that was hidden from Georgia, it talks about the sovereignty was taken from Georgia at gunpoint. And that's the stuff I be talking about. Like, oh, here we go, Yusef. Watch this. There's something called the Reverse Underground Railroad, aka blackbirding, right? But what goes on in this practice is that they tell you that it was white, of course, quote unquote, white slave owners or white slave catchers going to catch free people, forcing them into slavery into certain counties and taking them away from where they was at, kidnapping them. So I'm like, oh, okay. I read further into it. It said that most of the time they would go and get blacks and mixed people to do the taking and the catching them and all that. Cause your brother come up like, yo, bro, come over here. I got something for, and they kidnap you and shit and give you to some, what the fuck? This is why we had to riot and kill our own sometimes, cause y'all tripping. But this is what was going on. Like the people was kidnapping bulls, but it was at hands of dirty Moors like today. It's just back then they was kidnapping bulls. Like instead of talking stuff online, we gonna come and kidnap you, and then let your Moors come and save you. And then when we go over there and see them, they don't even put that bloodbath in the damn records. We was burning people's houses down, bro. And they didn't know how to build, because who built the house? That type of war tactic right there, to burn a house down when you the builder, come on now. Can't see me. Y'all get the arrows later. I'm going to burn your house down. You figure out how to live off my land. They don't know how to plant. They don't know how to farm. They don't know how to do no cotton picking. So they stuck now running through the woods, right? Living in tents and teepees together. Scottish, Highlander, and this fake Native American, bro. I know the history. And then we agreed in the Masonic order to play the slaves through the damn paperwork and act like we was the slaves. So you got a house, right? Or the manor. We going to act like we the slaves in the manor. So the house Negro, he really owned everything. So he in there decorating. And what we did with the European was, since we mixing to keep the Europeans and everybody else from knowing, because everybody was dark, did we basically breaking all types of rules. We make us the slave and then make all the light-skinned, dark-skinned people like pass for white. Let's get it.
And that's another profitable scheme. That's exactly what that's another profitable scheme. It worked.
Yep. These people,
they still doing it today through the paperwork. Yes, because like you were saying more earlier, that's the back in the day was your own was going to capture you physically. I wish they would do that today. At least you can fight and have a chance. Than what they're doing now with the paperwork, where you just waking up and now
doing the same exact
you don't even know what's going on. You just label this, label that everywhere you go, because on some paperwork, and now they're promoting it everywhere that you guys really are colored. You guys really are Negroes and slaves, and your civil rights people are the ones who started it and still continue to promote it. Who Steve Coakley already proved came out of a group called the Black Cabinet that Roosevelt appointed and chose Negro elite college elites from them HBCUs. He picked and chose them out of them into that cabinet elite. That Black Cabinet, and out of that Black Cabinet became all of them Sigma Phi group leaders, because the guy who started the Urban League, he also was one of the creators of one of them Sigma Phi whatevers. He came out of the Black Cabinet. All of them did, and then later on became the leaders of the civil rights. And now today, this is the trickle down effect right here. Like all of this going on with the Black Lives Matter and all of that, marching and picketing and all of that, the selling out and all comes from that right there, the appointing from them. And this was going on before the prophet was on the scene. They was already set up.
That's why
We talking about 1896, 1886. They already, yeah, we ready to sell out. Like that was major to me seeing that.
Like we lived through like, well, our grandparents lived through them stripping a Moorish title away. So like the whole Indian thing, we weren't necessarily Indians. Your mom and them, they'll tell you they're Indians later, but most of the time they give you the tribe, because that's different than saying you're an Indian. When you go back to tribe, that's more of a nation, because that tribe name wasn't really that to the tribe. We already know, like, but you know, as you dealing with these European stuff, get lost, but at least they knew they were part of a nation and not the damn United States. So this is when the way that they played that is the same way that they flipped the whole thing of us being Moors like 100 years before that. This is like, all right, we let y'all be Indians, right? But then we ask y'all, can we get this little piece of land over here? Then we're like, all right. Then we notice that y'all bringing in new foreigners over there and y'all stuff, but we don't really ask no questions. Next thing you know, they done formed a lodge. They got some of us joining it with them. They done formed a fake version of the Indians and got us to believe that if we join them, we gonna get better provisions with them, and they're gonna help us flip them over, and we're gonna give y'all the proceeds of every time they would do it, help them go to war with us or whatever. Then they would give them the worst provisions in the deal. Every time. But for some odd reason, here we go. They were in the bed with the women, so they would accept the bad deals because they knew they was breaking laws and all that. Y'all break. Everybody's breaking their damn vine and fig tree. What y'all doing? Because you're making slave castes of children that's not going to understand how to tie back to any nation, because they're going to be looking at the father. He look one way, the mother look one, and he confused as hell now. What is his political status going to be, or what is his political stance going to be if you give him a seat? He gonna be doing all types of stuff, because one, he know he look like something, but inside he know he's another thing. So his choices is gonna be all off angle. That's somebody real controllable if you know how to manipulate them, blackmail. That's why everybody that's in this shit right now is blackmail. That go all the way back to our stuff. But the blackmail was more, you probably had to cut your hand or something like that, boy. But you had to give us something that we know we could trust you now. The trust now, though, is to keep anybody from knowing that we don't come from Africa like that. Because if you start tying back to this land, what do they claim if they're just all corporations? I'm here because I'm American because I was born here. Yeah, well, I'm American because my blood is American. That trumps you're just born here.
They don't want to get Trump, though. They want Biden. Now they're complaining.
Didn't they just pause something? They literally paused, like how the young boys be doing, like, oh, pause, bro. They just paused the stuff that they was doing, the little mandates and all that. Pause? Why? Wait, I thought people are, epidemic and stuff. Like, so why? How could you pause? Yeah, because people are being sued. They understand what Noble Ali brought. I start looking through who was suing who, and this corporation is suing corporations. It's like, oh, we got a corporation. Of course, it's been usurped by goofies that look just like us, but we got a corporation. We have a way to go into the commercial world and have a public stance.
Yeah.
But here we go with these goof troops. And you're doing new things that don't even need to be done. Counselor for what? If you want to do a counselor and have counselors do it through the Moore Science Temple. What are you doing counselor court for? What is that? I still ask to this day, what is that? What is that? Are we from here or not? Counselor, why? What are you talking about? And then, because, foreign to the government, foreign to the United States. Easy, because he likes to make things mean what he wanted to mean.
Mm-hmm.
Jurisdiction. You have to have certain words that don't mean nothing that he could even talk about. That's why we speak in Latin. Oh my gosh, these people are sick.
Sickos.
But yeah, Yusuf, like basically, we looking at, I guess a crooked jump shot. Like I guess you could say I give him a okay, but from
I understand. You know they say, eat the fish, spit the bones out.
Right.
Yeah, it's big time. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Big time.
So we gotta basically a fish hook has been thrown into the pond. The Moors, we Moor fish. We over here, we chilling. We ain't even worried about the hook. These weird trout, damn tuna weirdos, these black bass ass people.
Tilapia.
He's like, hold it. As soon as you say that he's not the prophet, you get pulled out the water. It's time to get baked. Oh, he's time to right out the water. Because you're biting the hook and you're not even seeing what the intention of the person casting the hook was. He likes Moors know their colors. They know this is going to be bait, so he throws it in there. He's not even looking to catch no darn Moor fish. He pulled his hook out. His Moors on there. He's like, oh my gosh, what did I do? But like, I think it's him trying in a sea of madness, and then the after effect of people not trying to see this as anything good. They want it to be Noble Drew Ali was a fraud. Like, so that's how they took it.
Because he has a massive library, so I know he knows. That's why I was glad that you pulled that book which he said eventually was just an article that he wrote, but the title alone let me know he knew more than he assumed. Exactly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Aisha Khan, she's like she got like Persian roots type shit, but she's American too, so it's like, but she's tan compared to European, so count her in. But yeah, she slaughtered it in that book. Like he didn't go in like she went in on that book because she was just going off. But like matter of fact, he do cover the first part of the book. The whole first half of the book is him covering the Moors in the old world. That's like, see, when it's like when you look at one thing, it's like, damn, why you do that? It's another thing in there that covers for it. Like, wow, well, that's kind of heard that one. That's kind of, it's hard looking at there. It's like, that's how I did it. And then when I weighed it out at the end, I'm like, damn, I see more good things in here than I see things that I could look at as what the hell. So shoot, it weighed right, when I read the whole book. And it's like, oh, all right, this ain't no damn slight. He trying to bring Moors to the world, the new world, like academia, because people don't talk about the Moors still. Like,
so you read that other article too that he has that you read with the title?
What'd you say?
Remember that long title you read yesterday?
Yeah.
You read that. That's the one you were talking about just now?
Yeah, well, that was an article from the same author as the book that I read, Islam and... Well, I was talking about Princess and the Prophet just now, but that book, Islam in the Americas, that article with that long name, that's just from the same author.
Okay, I see what you said. Okay.
So her principles basically are still in that. So you can read about Mayan, how the Mayan hieroglyphs resemble Egyptian hieroglyphs, but then you can find ancient words on there that go back to Hebrew, and then some of them look like the Arabic words, and then that go back to a script that you can find and got in India. And then wait, are these all the same people? Yeah, these are the same people because the world was connected once. And wait, when did the world disconnect? Somebody please tell me, when did the world disconnect? See, these are the things we like look at when we like they're lying, but they're just not. They're not. It's stuff that we just whiz by, but we're not like just critical think. When did the world ever separate? What are we talking about? You can't separate this. This is a fixed a fixed system. What do you mean separate? What are you talking about? The water levels rise? Because that's all that happened. You know, stories that just rained for like 4 years and shit. So, water levels rise. That's why it's buried pyramids everywhere, because it used to be an old world under this world we living on right now. So you want to see your ancestors, they're in the underworld.
He said it's so simple too.
Oh, it's hell. No, well, why y'all bury everybody if you believe in hell? You're going to put them 6 feet under earth? Isn't that symbolic of hell? No? Okay, everything about going in, the deeper you go, the more blossom the fruit is going to be when it sprouts.
Yo, Maury, now you got my mind going crazy. So, like, if they said it disconnected, so when it disconnected, that's when the water came up from the bottom, and that's when it disconnected.
Yeah.
Like it just over flooded at right where it was at. The water just rolls up. Ain't nothing, because if the lands disconnect, that means the earth's gonna start splitting, right? Like, wouldn't the earth split? Like,
the earth was split. See,
like the earth was split.
Think about it more. That's the symbolic meaning of the Kraken from H.P. Lovecraft. The Kraken is the water levels rising. That's why he made it a damn squid.
Or somebody be like, yeah, it split, but it didn't split like that. You know what I'm saying? Nah, see, no.
Like that's like saying when you came out of your mother, she split. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. My mother didn't split. That's like disrespectful, damn near. What you mean she split? What are you talking about? She was one being before me. She was one being after I came out. She had me. She produced me. So that's symbolic. Like the world we talking about, and the world that our DNA is like triggering us back to, it birthed this world we looking at now. And then when we looking at the age of empires and Egyptians, when they would talk about the ancient Americas, it was like how we revel about it now. It was that's how the Egyptians looked at it. They didn't know who built them pyramids, dog. They didn't know who did that. Zoser. Man, look, when you go back to 2000 something, first of all, the people who telling you that was built, they weren't even here to talk about. So no. Them buildings are so old that it outdates time. Like, the worst part is that America's buildings are older, and we got more ancient constructions. Like, we got the mounds, and we got step pyramids. But their oldest pyramid is the step pyramid. So you can see who went over there to build that for them. You go over to damn Asia. They got the Asia and India, or Hindustan, they got the most complex buildings. So this is where both of our architecture schemes met at one. Like, because we went from one side of, like, imagine leaving from California and going on that way in the civilization, build everything for everybody thing. And then the other side leaving out from the East Coast. When y'all meet each other, y'all going to be in India or Hindustan. So that's the cradle of, like, the golden age and the Silk Road and all that. That's why their buildings and like, what's that junk? Angkor Wat and all that. That's why that shit is so grand. The Mauryan Empire was like some of the craziest stuff ever. And then when all of that is where Britain and all these people was born out of. Later though, because Britain was first Barat and all that. You know, they came into their conception later with all the king and all that stuff, like all the king royalty and the sun crowns. That's a later adaptation of all of us being sultans and all that type of stuff. And so the guy we're looking at now, the Yoba, he like, man, he like came. This dude just got here, bro. Like, when I say just got here, man, ain't the King's List. He wasn't here in no damn 1500s. He just got here in like the 1700 somethings. As far as like when we was, you know, going in on the damn gene splicing and all that. That's 1700 work, bro. They buried all them damn them lands that we did that in. Because it's too real to give away how this dude came. He talk about his DNA. He like, oh, I got 90%. You know, I got 90% banana in my DNA. Oh, do you? Keep on talking. Tell me more. Oh, you know, we're mixed with everything. Oh, are you? I'm a mutt. Where are you from, bro? Oh, you're American. No, where your blood go back to? Well, you know, Switzerland, Rome. You know, I'm a mutt. Oh, are you? Would you ever call yourself a mutt, Yusuf?
No.
See, why is that in him to do that? How many of them you talk to and they say they're a mutt? Gene splicing.
Or they even say we come from monkeys. Shit, they even say
Gene
that.
splicing. Oh, Hanneman, remember that? Gene spice. Yeah. He worships.
Brother Steve Copley talks about that. How when he did a lecture, that's one of the things that he likes to do at the college lectures is ask all the so-called Europeans. He calls white people, but this where do they come from? And he says everywhere he goes, every time, every one of them give him different answers. They just always got different answers. They don't never, you know, like usually if they ask, you know, one of our people who don't know the stuff we know, immediately they're going to say Africa. Majority of them, 80, 90% of them going to be like, oh, we came from Africa. We came from Africa. We came from Africa. That's where the cradle of the pot is, you know, whatever. But so-called Europeans, when you start asking them, they always say something different.
Oh, man, that's silly. That's crazy.
Oh, but another thing, though, because Dorman, I can't let it, because this Morocco, okay, like that was bothering me too. Like when he kept referring to, you know, like, oh, the Moors from Morocco, and I'm like, brother, we in Morocco. Like, I couldn't let that just keep sliding. I know he gets tenure, but this the Canaanland Moors channel. You know, we got this Morocco. We know that this Morocco. We're not letting that continue to go on. It's too much information. Everything's basically still the same. They just keep saying United States and calling it a country and all of that crap. And that's political imaginary lines. That's just not what's going on.
And I don't think people get when we say this is Morocco. I don't think they get what that we mean. It's like, yeah, Morocco is a French word, but we know the ancients would call it the Al-Maghrib. What does Al-Maghrib mean? It means the West. Okay, now what takes place in this West, this Islamic West? Basically everybody lives in harmony, and if you try to come through crazy with the Christianity shit, we're gonna holy war you. In other words, you're not taking no West this in Islamic mind. You're not putting them in slavery. It's not happening. You might get yourself put in slavery, and we could prove it off the damn Surrender of Grenada Treaty, who we brought over here, back over here. But you know, like that people are stuck in religions and not understanding principles and what it means. If you're saying, oh, I'm a Muslim in 1400, what does that mean if you're a Muslim? that mean you're not no slave. That mean your family free. That mean you're a royal. That mean you probably got a castle all over the world somewhere, not just in over there. You got stuff back in the homelands in America. You got stuff all over the place.
Yep.
You're the Moor. You're the traveler. You're the first navigator.
Yep.
Who flew before we did? Turkish Moors won them Turkish battles in the air. Man, it get too crazy. We won them. Oh my gosh, bro. World War II, as fake as it was, because all this shit is a sham. But in the fakest of it, the Memphis Belle couldn't beat the damn German the German fleet. The Nazis, they couldn't see them in the air. They made all the damn Star Wars off of that. We came through as the Jedi elite and destroyed as the Red Tails. Fess us up. We destroyed the whole joint. No, they never lost a man flying with us. And when we landed, they tested us with syphilis to see how that's going to work.
Hey, I'm gonna back what you're saying.
How we treat God.
Right. I'm gonna back what you're saying too, because now back what you're saying just now, and I'm gonna put back with that word West, because like you said, it just means the West. All right. But what does West mean? The Latin word for West is Vespere. Vespere is Venus. It don't mean over. It doesn't see what I'm. And what color is your flag? What that green 5-pointed star represent? You see what I'm saying? West don't mean over there. West, the Latin word for West is Vespere, which goes back to Venus. And that's why our flag is what it is. And back what you're saying.
Flags? They never show us the succession flags back when we was going to war with them. They tell us the same story. Oh, the wars and everything was America. What about the flags of the succession in the South? They all had crescent moon and star on there, more. I do believe that would be the Venus star, and they were red too. So
and then and another thing with that, when they say, "Oh, Morocco is a French word," French don't mean what you think it means.
Louisiana. From Canada.
See what I'm saying?
That's this French is here. The Gullah Geechee from Gullah Geechee.
But they don't, and which is Louisiana is Algiers. You can YouTube Algiers Point in Louisiana, and Algiers Point older than Louisiana.
Yep. And it's older than Algiers over there.
Oh, come on. Yeah, Algiers over there. That's last week.
and more, every time you do that over here, don't it be older over here than it is? Like you find Rome in Georgia and Athens in Georgia. You go look up when Rome was like, romanticized, made a republic. This shit talking about something in the 1900s. But every time it do that. With us, it always go back to 1700s. But the question is, it's only doing that because that's when somebody came here.
Yep. Hey, I'm glad you said that. Malaga. Okay, now I grow grapes, right? And I have a lot of grapes. So, I know the alcohol or whatnot, but people want their wine or whatever. But I studied it. I know that the Moors introduced wine. They had the best wine in so-called Spain and Malaga, Spain, etc. But even Dr. Vincent Tournament, he talks about it in his Golden Age of the Moors, about the Moors introducing wine into Malaga, Spain. Now it bugged me out. The best wine grown in so-called America is grown in so-called California.
Yeah.
Right? And what do they call that? It's a famous vineyard out there. Something I forgot what's it called, but it's in California, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the place right next to it that's known for its famous grapes and dried grapes It's called Malaga, California. It's right next to the famous winery place, but it's Malaga over here.
Yep.
But they said the Moors introduced the wine to Malaga, Spain over there. The oldest winery in Malaga, Spain is 1948.
More.
The
They said that
they've
they
been
said
making wine over here in Malaga, California since 1772.
they said the Spanish came in through Mexico. How come how come California, like between California and Baja California Peninsula, they have a little gulf called Cortez, the River of Cortez? You mean to tell me all this stuff that we be hearing about with Cortez and all them, that really happened in the California region? That because that was Mexico at the time. We know about the circumnavigation of the globe under the firman by the Ottomans, given to Sir Francis Drake. He got his
Yep.
ass sent over here by some Moors. I mean, to California though. So that so they follow his route. These people came to California. And then think about it more. Where do all these Indians say that they came in through? Because it was the ice bridge, and then they
The
came in.
Bering Strait.
Oh, California. Oh, okay. And guess what? Scimitar. Watch this. More. You gotta look up La Siberia. La Siberia, more. Oh man, this shit is That's it. They say it's in prehistoric Spain. La Siberia. So prehistoric. That's before Siberia's in Russia. But y'all say y'all descend from Siberia. They say the oldest people there were the hunter-gatherer groups. Uh-oh. We know where y'all come from.
Now look, more. We know this without tenure.
No tenure.
These people with tenure don't know this information.
Because they're not allowed to study this way more. Because once you start, because literally you got to go against the grain of the stuff to get to these findings. Like, all right, here's one. This schematars it all, more. Think about this. Albert Perry is the new patrilineal Adam. So, we got a first gene of Adam. Okay, now they tie that to a South American, what they call, South Carolina, what they call an enslaved African American descendant. So is he born in slavery? No, but his ancestors, no. Why y'all trying to tie him to that? They didn't even find it in him. They found it in his children. But this gene that we all have is A00. And they say this is the oldest gene that predates mitochondrial Eve. This thing is damn near 400,000 years old. And it's found in America. Not in Africa, not in Europe, found in America. South Carolina, where the Gullah Geechees and all them, Noble Drew Ali a little bit closer. Okay. So then that means that all humanity it's all descended from people who look like us in America? That's a whole new story of how it is, but that's what they have found in the science. So needless to say, all the little fake studies of DNA has been in a halt ever since Albert Perry, because they don't know what to do with that.
DNA is based off of imaginary political lines.
And we still win there. We still win. Like, we can't lose. Like, even if they make something up, we still win. Like, that's what I'm saying, bro. It's like they tried to make a system and did not include us and make it all fake. But even in that, we still popped up as the oldest, the father of humanity, and all of that. So it's like, all right, go ahead, DNA it up. Albert Perry. Every time they say something, Albert Perry. But what about the Albert Perry gene? Tearing up everybody's damn speech. I'm talking about scholarly, all these people doing these little long speeches. Go in there with an Albert Perry question, watch him fold. Because it's not what you're talking about is in the range of 100,000 years, and it's all BS. Albert Perry is 400,000 years. So, meaning we've been looking like how we look now since 400,000 years ago.
Yeah.
We weren't never monkeys. We weren't African. We were here, and we look like this. for 400,000 years. So watch this. If you don't look like we look today, you went through admixture. So there's no such thing as a full blood. No, you're not full blood Italian. You're not full blood Mexican. You're not full blood Indian. Definitely not, because you need to mix with us to get all this stuff. So ain't nobody pure but us. We're Adam to these people. And to all the little, indigenous wannabe, we're God. I looked up all they damn gods. They're all jet dark-skinned like figures, big lips and all that. Like they worship us, and that's the secret. We like to get for us to really start finding it out. It like breaks their ritual, because they got to keep us as God, worship us, but worship us for our detriment, so they can benefit off of our punishment. Jesus shit. Once we start,
and even some of the, even they Masons too. There's Cherokee Mason organization, Blackfoot Mason organization, all etc.
All of them.
All of
they got
them.
an order called the Order of Ezegal, the one who sold out. Oh my God, they got an order of Ezegal.
The Trailatiers, what didn't have nothing to do with no European. Those was Cherokee Masons that organized the Trailatiers. Don't you blame that European for that. Those Cherokee Masons that look like us, who they be like, oh, my grandfather, yeah. Was he a Mason? Cherokee guy? They was all selling out, man. Been selling out.
Because either you're gonna, if you didn't sell the land and you stayed in Georgia, you had to join Freemasonry. If you did sell the land, you get all the provisions, you get to be one of the first people in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but you got to be a damn Freemason. But when you do it like that way and give up your land, they let you be a Freemason and keep the damn tribal lineage shit. So it's really, it be hurting me, because I'm like, damn, bro, like when you really know how this goes, if you know you're a Cherokee, that means your people, like, they let their land get given up. They sold their land to go out Oklahoma. And then they got turned on by the fake Indians, the $5 white people or pale people, the Yogos, and all these damn other black Masons that you had to be in line. You couldn't be practicing Arabic and doing all that stuff. All of that they tell on you, and you would have to get put in line. What that mean? You losing your provisions, your family lose their portion of their little, whatever. So you had to like be down with the sellout. They had a temple and they had a lodge in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It'd be hard for me to be like, yo, yeah, everything was cool with the Masons, like, because that's what he was trying to do too, like make it seem like Masons was all good for everybody, and it was just like, the Moors and everything was together and a happy joy. Well, then how about this happy joy? How come we're still in the unfortunate predicament that we're in? And why did Noble Drew Ali say that dastardly statement that they never read, where he says that the Mason will be the last to come home, the Asiatic creature be the last to come home, because they go against him tooth and nail. They don't ever talk about that. Dorman, of course, doesn't know about that because that's not public. He never read like New Caribbean Files, bro. It's like, if he would have, it probably would have been even crazier. But we know like a whole nother side to what everybody else in the public knows about what happened to that man.
Peace, family.
Yo, peace, more.
Peace. And I love that you got to that point, because just great interview, by the way, brother Kasir. And because that was just some of the things that it felt like either he knows and wasn't choosing to mention that side of his lineage, or he just wasn't aware of it. But the whole Washita side, the whole Empress Veridace side, was like leaving that out when it's also mentioning a bloodline with people who can be traced from like the Lucy, and I think it was James, right? That's who he said. Walt. Wait a minute, and because I don't have the book. So so the story. So was he born? Was Walter Brister born the name Walter Brister?
They say he was born from Henry and Lucy. Walter Brister was born Walter. What happens is he has an adopted brother by the name of Thomas that comes in the picture under the same. And then when you look at the Thomas census, it's the same Lucy on there from that was married to Henry, but from another family. So you can see that he was adopted. But this is the crazy part. When you follow the story, Thomas Drew dies. Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I remember you bringing that up.
Walter Brister fakes his death to act like his brother Thomas. So how is Noble Drew Ali and him the same person if he acted like his brother, but him and Noble Drew Ali don't look alike?
Yeah. And there's other documentation that has his date and has his age, which automatically would cancel the notion because for example, I got references from like 1923, and it gives Drew Ali's age and date of birth, and I did the quick math to it, and it went to 1886, which is the date most people know of him being born, 1886. But from the gentleman, from the brother Dorman, he's mentioning that that if he was Walter Brister, he would be like a few years earlier, right? Like around like 50.
If he was Walter Brister, that'd have made him 50 at the time of that picture in front of the temple with everybody out there with him.
Yeah, so it's definitely a few misconceptions that sort of
so
like
Noble Drew Ali
slices it in
right
half.
there. The
Like,
picture that they got up in the background, that's 50.
or so what was his exact age? You said Walter Brister was born
He would have been
1880 what?
No, it was I think it was like 1880.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's definitely a few misconceptions that pretty much slice it in half. Like I said, like it's a reference from 1923 as him as Dr. Drew, and other references that show his date and the age, and it's shown going back to 1886, which would slice the Walter Brister story in half. And the whole Washita side, and you feel me, who Empress Vardelse basically claims Noble Drew Ali as her uncle.
Yeah,
and mentions Drew Ali being, the fifth Marquis de Mason, Rouge, ECC, and who his lineage was. So, like, to leave, like, to, that's why I said, like, that's sort of strange. Like, you would have
know what
had,
that
you
translates
would have
to?
had to do this because he knows that Noble Drew Ali is looked at as a prophet, and to not cover all your bases with your due diligence and your research is that's not good. That's not good. Try and be as polite, brotherly as possible, but that's not good, man. That's not good. But what y'all think?
15 years. Not with 15 years on top of that too.
And going back to like what Yusuf was saying earlier, like he was just like it was just stuff that like he kept on like mentioning like just Moors being Muslim, so and like care like that's two different modes. You know, you can't really trace back Muslim before the word 1800.
You gotta
and
take
more.
if you take out the religion, like just take out the religion though, because that's what a lot of the time happen when they start talking about history and they say Muslim. We all think about what we know Muslim as, basically a religion under Muhammad. But a
Right.
lot of times in history, it's a code for more. Like they don't even mean like a religion. They mean like what we're seeing as Muslims are people that mimic their life in a religious practice that's after Moors. They'll tell you, oh, that's the way of Muhammad. No, that's the way of the Moors. It's all code though. It's all code. Like when the way they do their prayers and everything, following the damn adhan and all that, calling out. That's all Moors culture, but they're making it a religion. But go over there and tell them people that that's a religion only that they believe in. You ain't leaving.
You gonna try to go to the airport. You're gonna try to go to the airport. They're gonna stop you. Like, brother, sorry, you can't board the airport.
Yeah, they'll knock you off in the street there. Like literally, bro. Them people can't. Them people don't play with their little they dogma. They subjugated well.
Sure.
They'll be like Allah. Like as soon as you say something wrong,
Yo, you heard of the journalist from Saudi Arabia, Khashoggi guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that just adds to it right there.
Allah. Like calm down, bro. Calm down. We got prophets too. You don't get to be greedy and get to have all the prophets. No, we got prophets too. Don't act like you don't have prophets from Judaism up in your stuff.
See, that's a great point you're making.
Why can't we have our prophet? You got damn prophet Noah, who's basically from the Judean text. First 5 books. Noah. Get out of here. That's in Torah. How you get that in your damn stuff? I thought it was something new that Muhammad brought. How does he have old stuff from other people in his stuff? What he got what the damn angel inspired an old story to the bull? And told him, well, from here, just make up your own stuff. What? like when you read the story, it's like when you know the story with history, it's like really make you scratch your head because it's like, wait, this dude's grandmother was named Al-Uzza. Like her title was Al-Uzza. So that means y'all deity was Al-Uzza, Manat, and a lot in the time of your grandparents. The Meccans, the Quraysh was damn his family. So watch how crazy this gets, Morris. He has a rich niece, like great grandniece or whatever, that's older than him, and Khadijah, but they're related. They run off. He marries her, and they run off from the tribe. And then he goes to Medina and acts like he don't know how to read, and he just a traveler. He can't read or write, so he can't tell him his name because he don't know how to write it down. See. It's a game, but what do he know how to do? Oh, I get visions every now and then, y'all. I got a new religion. What religion you coming up with? We don't practice with them crazy people. No, it ain't it's sort of like the stuff that the Jews do. The Jews? Oh, we get money with them. And it's kind of like the Christians. We know them. But our God is Allah. Allah? You mean Allah? A lot? No, Allah, like the God. Al-Ilah. Oh, so what is it about? The gods of Abraham. And basically, he remixed and scratched a new Christianity, and then people was loving it. Because what does Christianity allow you to do? Anything and everything, and basically, all you got to do is have your prayers up. But with his, it was more tactical. We get to marry anybody and everybody we want, as long as it's under God. These dudes is running around like, harem and stuff. But under a religious practice, this is the crazy part, because the Moors never told him to do that. When the harems popped up, that was in the fall. Those were spiritual, like healing houses before it became a bathhouse, and then later they ain't just having sex in there. Like, what is that? But this history of like these people, how does he get to have a family of the Quraysh people, have a damn voyage to damn Abyssinia, get some people up there, go to damn Medina, get them to form an army with his new God to go down to where his family lived and have a holy war with them. Of course, destroy him because you got like 2 other empires fighting behind you, and then do a treaty with the people who subjugated your family. What? That's the story of Muhammad. And it's like, wait a damn minute, that's crazy. But see, now you see why they have to call it Islam, because what are they in heart? They're Christians in heart. What is a Christian? A Christian is somebody who believes that they could conquer somebody's land that they're not from. And it's okay because their God told them they're deemed that land. We're Muslims. What we believe is that our lands are consecrated by our gods to us. So most likely you're born in a land that's yours. That's where you're allotted to, where you're born at. But because you're going to probably have bloodlines tied there. What he's done is made a world where you don't go back to where you're born from. You deal with where you're born at now, and only like go from there on. Don't go back. We got you with the Bible with going back and tying back. We tie you back to a Bible and a Quran. But as far as like, yeah, because you don't have no family, you were slaves. But go forward, young man. Go west. Build your nation anew. Don't worry about the past. That's all this there. Do new stuff. Why you guys just always go back to slavery? What about now? It's like, hold up. We up here celebrating everybody's damn customs and damn holidays every single year. Don't tell me about don't want to connect back to my family. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. If I had to sit and deal with your customs all this time, don't be mad at me when I'm fezzed up, when I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing because it hurts inside. Because you don't, whatever. We're not going to put you back in slavery. Forget that. But we're not going to play your slaves no more.
You're not going to play anybody's slave for that matter.
Mm-hmm. So, as it applies to Jacob Dorman and his new, his attempt, I value his attempt and I kind of enjoy it. But it's only based off of me understanding without any book or anybody's, attempt who I am. Like book or no book, I know who I am outside of his book. So I can look at his book as, a story, like a narrative on his postulation of what might have been. But the thing is, my DNA knows what actually is. So I can enjoy his because he don't really know what happened. I do. It's in my time capsule that I call DNA. My body. I can just go read a book and it'll tap back into me based off the more science. Read it with my fez on. Yep. And it'll tie me back to, I can go live there again because those was my people. Whatever time I'm reading.
Sorry, Morris.
Was up. None of them
it was definitely interesting to know. It was honest enough of him to let us know that he was descendant from Ashkenazi in comparison to like Sephardic. That was like interesting. If he would have said, "Oh, I'm Sephardic," I think that would have been more, But honest to him letting us know his bloodline. But I thought that was interesting that it was Ashkenazi in comparison to like Sephardic.
Now remember, his mother was Circassian.
Oh, okay.
He's Circassian. His father is the German, the Ashkenazi.
Okay, I'm familiar with the Circassian. I'm familiar.
Okay, real quick.
That's more.
Can you clear up the part? Because I like the more that just came in. He had brung up the Indian part, the Washita. Now, did Dorman go over that in his book, the Washita part?
Kasir,
but not from so much of a like
identity point. Like, did he?
That wasn't part of Princess and the Prophet like that because it was just basically about that. But
because I asked that because he said he went to go see who the prophet was because of he saw him tied in with the circus, that he was in the circus. And I'm like, well, why didn't you check the census when he said he was Cherokee Indian? Why didn't you follow that path? Out of all the other paths too that he left, why go the path of the circus to prove who he was? Why not go the Cherokee Indian way? Because a lot of Moors on here can pull up that Cherokee Indian census and show their family ties to it or whatever, and then show it like, yeah, that's my people right there. Why didn't he use that? Why go through the trouble of going through the census for some circus? Like, who thinks to think that? Like, oh, well, let's go through the circus.
Because you
Like,
gotta remember what the circus is. Remember, like it ain't like this. Oh, the Ringling Brothers. The circus is the big that's the big league. It's really the big top. Like
High priest.
in the day before TVs and stuff. And then when we go back, ancient sacred clowns, the Circus Maximus. I mean, the great circus of Carthage. The prophet was tapped into some stuff. This is just it's just that old. It's like we remember the clowns.
We know that. We know that. Dorman didn't put that in his book.
Oh no. Prophet didn't even tell the people that, because they would they would have knew.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we can say that, but Dorman, he doesn't explain that in his book. So I'm not saying he can't be qualified to be coming from that angle, because he didn't mention it. He didn't mention the ancient side of being in the circus. He's leaving it for the regular layman to think when you think of a circus. Like, oh, it's jokey time. Like, that's where he's leaving it at for the layman. Like, I'm not giving him that esoteric side that us Moors researched and dug into. Like, no, I'm not giving him that, because he didn't say that in his book. That's why I like, I really do have a problem with the way he wrote his book, because he can say one thing, but when I look at his works, it's not what it is.
He related, like, he tied the circus into the World Fair in Chicago. And then when I went through the World Fair, it's like, this is when the European came into like the New World. Like, before the World Fair, like, really, he was in nothing. He was in the sticks. Like, he had just beat the bubonic plague. Right before that the World Fair happened a year after Ellis Island. These people was still like when you look up the so-called white what's it called? White trash. The whole breakdown of those. It's a book by it's a woman. Damn, I can't remember her name. But it's a book called
Brother Kaiser, the first thing you said was, when I looked into it, you're a mystic. You're different. I'm not talking about when you look at, because that's what you're going to do. You're a high priest. The regular layman who picks up this book, like Tomahawk guy, when he read this, and for anybody else, you know what I mean? Like, they're not looking at it like, well, let me look into the World Fair, because Brother Asir, he goes in onto the World Fairs and all of that, so we know that. But the layman, in general terms,
think about how Tomahawk Tony read the damn Quran. He went through the first chapter like, man, it's garbage. Man, he's strong.
And that's what they all do.
Like, he doesn't know mysticism when he sees it. He just, everything's religion with him. So he won't know
got the spirit.
Yeah, it ain't there.
All that missing.
So it's like, even if, like, so if he can't even get the Prophets 101s and Circle 7, just 2 pamphlets, he's going crazy. Oh, it's a religion. Oh, it's a damn corporation. Oh. Then he's not going to be able to get something like that, because on the low, Jacob Dorman, he is speaking from like a very, very like intellectual position. He the way when you read the book, he used words like you can tell he's a scholar. Like, he's not even playing. So it's like those books that I be reading from other, even historical journals, they don't even use wording like he be using. So it'll have them, they'll be confused on what the damn word mean. They don't read like us. Like, they don't get dictionaries and see what this mean and what that mean, and like really interpret what something mean, highlight and all that. We the only ones that really read. So like they won't even get the simplest stuff that will show them light. They gonna take the worst part out of it. Like, let's say Steve Coakley wrote a book, we would get all this good stuff out of it to where we could apply it to how we see people acting now.
You
They
said
would
that. I know
they
what
would
you're
do
saying.
stuff like, see, yeah, Noble Drew Ali was a Boule. Cause see right here, say Boule was a lot of times Muslim. See, because it's a Muslim.
Yeah, because Steve Coakley says black this, white this, all through his talk. But if you don't take that out, you'll be like, oh, as a Moor. But he keeps saying black. He keep calling them white. I know what you're saying.
Right.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, perfectly
But
said, man.
and it's real hard because I already know it's like we already studying a way to hear that as a buzzword to where all types of red flags, no pun intended, pop up when you hear somebody say, when we were Negroes, it's like, oh, damn, Negroes, we not Negroes. So like, but that a lot of times could you'll miss the whole thing of what they saying. Because I that happened a lot of times with me and with other Moors. Somebody be trying to show me something, and it'll be a part that I'm supposed to hear at like what 20 seconds in. But it'll start with, well, you know, when we was black, and I'm like, man, come on, they black. And he's like, oh, wait. Listen to what he say. Yeah, see, when we thought we was black, it wasn't until the Moors came and told us that we wasn't that. And I'm like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? So like me having to have that like that determination in myself to just keep the dragon inside of me has to keep the lower self grounded enough so I can hear people. Because if I let that lower self out, Shemitars everywhere, y'all all wrong. Because at the end of the day, yeah. But if I keep it grounded, maybe I could hear something in this person where it could be an actual conversation to grow out of it, not a Shemitar match. Like I could grow a conversation out of what they just said because they're not wrong really, but I gotta keep that lower self grounded. Then the higher self would be the one that make the best thing that I could say back to what he just said, to not make it like a match, but to bring light out of this thing. Because I'm not confused, he is. So I'm not going to join him in his confusion. I'm going to pull him over to the light, but I can't even alert him that I'm trying to wake him up. He's going to freak out. So I got to use my Moorish nationality and mysticism. Like, oh, come over here, brother. No, that's just candy, the Anifest. No, it's a candy box. Look, turn it over. See, candy in it. Oh wow, okay. Yeah, come over. Keep on coming. Yeah. No, that's not an add-up chamber. This is an acceptance booth. Just come on in. You can vote in there. Come on in. And once we got him in there, it's a wrap. Yeah. Wow, this is what I was missing. Yeah, we got you now. Now he cool. He get it. But a lot of people, they freak out before we can get him all the way in. Because he'll notice the damn tassel from the damn candy bucket. Oh, no, that's a fez, bro. Turn that shit over. Well, I ain't going in there eating candy out of a fez. See, I knew y'all more was playing. It's like, you're a slave. You're scared for me to free you. I'm free. So it's like we're tiptoeing through the cotton field of Mr. Jenkins. He owning all these darn dark-skinned people to call themselves black and not Moors. We like, look, y'all know y'all don't even got to work. The contracts that y'all working with, they all bankrupt and fucked up. Like from the void ab initio, we're gonna teach you about it later. But like you could just leave, right? And tell him later and write a writ, like non-proton. Leave now and tell him what you did. Yo, come on, go. He like, I ain't leaving. What you talking? We like, shh, chill, bro. Any argument's gonna make you put you in dishonor. And he like, no, I mean, but I understand what you're saying, but I got children on this field. I work for this. I'm getting like, bro. Like I told you, it's bankrupt. Better to save yourself, and I'll show you what to invest. What you're working for. I'll show you how to invest in it. I don't wear vests. No, I'm saying invest. Like we're dealing with people who have mental blocks because they've been lied to so much. They actually drunk the poison now because it's like it. Like think about it. 4 months ago, a year ago, it wasn't this hard to get through to people. We were swinging. Now it's like you got these new people popping up. Indian Associate Bodyguard Defense Leagues, and they all so-called Spaniard mix, Asiatic mix people claiming Native American. Telling Moors they can't be Moors and you can't be Olmecs because that's racist. Full
How
blood
when Olmec mean Mecca?
Huh? Yeah, right.
So how when Olmec mean Mecca?
And show me how Cherokee go back to Mecca. I mean, show me how Cherokee go back to Olmec. And they'd be like, well, we can't. Okay. Doesn't full blood Indian acronym FBI? Full Blood Indian, FBI. I will watch it, guys, with all these people with the stuff. Not our brothers, the ones that look like us, but them people with all that full blood stuff, they FBI agents. Full Blood Indian, FBI.
That's what that's what it appears to be with with some of the oldest wars here has been war between the full blood, aka the Moor, aka the man, North American national, versus the non and versus the non full blood. But you know what Moors and what Drew Ali was bringing was the uniting of Asia under which he always brought up under what starting with what love, followed by truth, peace, freedom, and justice, etc. And yeah, I mean, very very interesting interview. Very very interesting interview. Very very interesting interview.
Because when you say
I feel
uniting of
definite.
Asia, we talking about the returning to the nation, like returning to your nation through family ties, because your nation is really a family tie. I can see that through the so-called Indian cosmogony. I don't see that really that much in any American law at all. Not American law, my fault. That because that is that law, but I'm saying United States policy. I don't see any return to family whatsoever in United States policy. I see orphan court in United States policy. But at least in Indian law, I do see a reconnection to the family through by way of your respective clan. Now we Moors, I'm not even speaking in Los Indios. I'm speaking in Moorish Latin. Like our clan is your title. Like your Roane title is your clan name. So we all got one of them. And we don't use Ali because Ali is like that's the Sagamore. None of us are at that level to be Sagamore because we can't run government for ourselves yet. I mean, once we stop playing, we can. Because I know, shoot, Cujo will be a good governor. Play them games. Imagine you like that. If we had government going right now, nobody would like Governor Cujo. Because like,
Cujo's needed. Cujo,
if you want to wear a mask, we're kicking you out. We're not playing games. We're not no mask here. People will be like, "Oh, that's Governor Cujo is mean." What if I don't want to get sick? You're not going to get sick. If I would tell you to take it off for my people to get sick, then yeah, you should vote me out. But because I know it's not even a disease out there, I'm going to tell you, don't do it. Free fezzes for everybody for not wearing a fez. I mean, for not wearing a mask. What? Man, people will go crazy. Moors would be loving it. We be killing it out here.
Speaking of,
but you got to look at our people's like their mindset. Like, oh, now watch this. All the Indian people that are claiming indigenous and touching this on, you know where they learned all that from? They all learned from like a Tauntonist one taught all them.
Yeah.
So you know,
he
gets it. So you know,
the Tauntonist one, the more. Islam, more. Any closing remarks before we get out of here?
Islam, Grand Sheik. The prophet is the man.
Yeah, so far so far it appears like he undefeated.
Yep,
he's like the reigning champion. He's undefeated with the research, the amount of history that he knew. Like he knew like thousands of years of history and research already. It's amazing. It's amazing. It appears like he's undefeated. So until further notice.
Sure.
If y'all notice the energy switch, and it's all responsibility of us conjuring the prophet. Like shit is crazy. The energy switch and how it was 2 months ago and to now, everything is cleared. You can't hear a peep. A pin could drop over there in the Masonic tomb world. We made it a tomb. And it ain't nobody talking. No, it's a wrap. It's a wrap now. Everybody looks silly. Prophet reigns supreme again. Islam.
Yeah, I will say where I think some of the confusion was definitely with the circus and the Drew appellation. I think that's where it seems like the confusion went awry. The circus and the Drew surname, etc. One thing it definitely did was bring awareness to what type of energy the circus was really on, and connecting that with the metaphysical side with the people was definitely interesting to know, and something that I think that us as the people, because we are the greatest basketball players, the greatest football players, the greatest runners, we jump the highest. So if that is the case, I think that is something that we should look into as a people for future references. Um, but yeah, peace and love though. Oh yeah, I also wanted to know. Sorry, I also had wanted to know how much history of the Moors in America was he aware of?
No.
That's a good question, Mark.
No, bro.
Because I think that would have aided his research even more, because he kept on using Muslim instead of where more should have been, and the whole history of what a Moor is can't be codified all in Islam. You have other Moorish families who didn't practice Islam, from different types of Creoles, Cajuns, Mestizos, Huguenots, Calvinists, Protestants, all these different families, Melungians, all these other families that lived near where Drew Ali grew up, in the Carolinas, Virginia, who were of Moorish blood, but may have not practiced Islam openly, but was of Moorish blood. So Drew Ali was super aware, whether we was practicing Islam overtly or not. He was already aware that there were Moors already all over this piece.
The thing is, what document or what books in academia do they give accreditation as, oh, this is a validated history and not pseudo when it comes to ancient America? They don't deal with anything.
I mean, when we say an ancient, how far are we talking? Pre-Columbian, or are we talking
pre-Columbian?
Okay, because like I got documentation on that. Like I got documentation. You feel me? Dealing with pre-Hispanic pheasants.
Yeah, I'm saying the documents that they not going to say that, oh, that's outdated, or because they got this way to watch. Science is this game, bro. That's the game that they use to throw old, outdated things that they don't like anymore to the wayside and to implement new things. And they just call it science. Oh, the new scientific research. Oh, we don't deal with that no more. There's been new scientific research that's outdated, so we don't deal with that. So wait, this is a way that you can just make up whatever you want to be true based off of, new scientific findings. So there's no such thing as a scientific fact, because all scientific fact is subject to change. If indeed another history predates it. Now watch this. If all the history of our lands is under the water, why don't they go under the water and study it?
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Why are you looking on top of the lands for? Go under the water. See? When it's so easy, but they haven't thought to do that, and there's no science. How simple things. There's no dental studies of indigenous American people did they have for African Americans or anybody that lives in the so-called island regions? They don't. Why are our dental proportions not included in what they're using to test who was the indigenous Americans? Because all of our dental features match indigenous people. But what does that do to claiming that we're African if our mouth damn structures? What's the only thing that stays in your body after you pass form that they will use to test DNA to see who you are and all that, right? Teeth. If those teeth that never change don't fit the characteristics of African teeth, then you can't say we're African. That's why we're not included, because we're indigenous. Oops.
And not just that, claiming to be more, which is that's something that's end game. Once you claim more, that's end game. That's
you encompass all of that.
Galacticus, that's Battle of the Planets. Now we talking something that's completely.
You got
different.
people that's playing purposeful ignorance because of what they feel like is right, like emotional and what my grandma told me. They're letting that override what they'll see in front of them. And it's like, yeah, that's facts. They're like, oh no, my grandma. But hold wait, you can't do that like that, because if we got documentation, like, and mind you, we're all going off of a mixture of what our parents told us, and when we want to go back farther, we look into some Europeans. We're not going to play that game. So when we look at the Peabody Museum record called Standard or Headdress, it tells you that before 1621, the word Indian was replaced for more. Like, so what does that, when somebody just saying that they're indigenous, aboriginal, and all that reads that, you know what that do? It hurts. It's like, man, damn. You know that uneasy feeling when you first read in the book report and you failed? And you know your pop about to whip you or your mom gonna hit you with the switch, and you're like, damn, I want to go home, man. My stomach kind of hurt. I'm looking at this F, bro. It's like, this shit crazy. But what do it really mean? You failed. You got to get your studies together, and you got to go home and get that whipping. You fucked up. You failed. Nobody else did. So that's really the feeling when you seeing that Moorish there and this Moorish people and Indian associates, and you see it and it's there, and you like, damn, this is the congressional record. Damn, that Moore told me it's under seal. Damn, my stomach's starting to hurt, bro. Yo, turn this off, bro. No, we ain't. Or like they read in something and they act like they don't see it in there, because it's just, you don't want to face stuff that you're not really ready for. You know what's crazy? All you're doing is accepting that you have a wider, vaster history than anybody ever spoke about. Let them tell you that Moors only existed for 800 years? You let them tell you that Moors only existed in damn North Africa? Well, why do you not listen to him when he tell you that Indian is only over there? You can see that Indian is America, but you can't see that it's Morocco too? You can't see that it's Moors too? Why is your mind only stuck on one ancient time and not all of them? Like time ain't damn etheric and malleable. You can change it. Why don't you want to change it for the better? You don't want to have the empires and shit. You just want to have like there's no history that shows Indians did anything unless you tie in Moors to it. So I mean, we all know this. We all know this, whether we want to admit it or not, or whether it hurts our emotions. We got 1,000 years to deal with this over and over again.
Yes, on that note, peace and love to all the Moors everywhere.
Peace.
Honors to all the mothers. And supreme honors to the man.
Right.
Undefeated.
The man. No
Right.
Man. Honors to all you Moors on the panel tonight. Peace and love.
Islam.
Peace and love. Islam.
Islam, Moors.
Islam. Give thanks.